So let's first take a bit of a look at the typical through bolt configuration. We have a continuous single piece anchor body, a sleeve or clip mounted about the conical base, washer and nut. So before we go ahead and install our FM753 anchor, let's make sure that we have the correct anchor. So in terms of our pre-work for installation, make sure we have the technical information. In this case, it's the ETA documentation applicable to the product, installation sheet that came inside the product box. And this gives all the details appropriate for install, especially with things regarding hole diameter, that's drilled hole diameter into the concrete, minimum edge distances and spacing values between anchors and to the edge of the concrete element, and additionally installation torque required for the particular product being installed. In this case, we have the, as described on the box, the M12 by 145. So we go down our table on our install sheet. It's indicating an installation torque of 60 Newton meters to be applied once we install it in the concrete. So through bolt installation, it's a very simple situation. All we do here, we've got our position marked on the concrete of application. So let's just make sure we have our position correct. Always check first. So we have a position requirement of 250 millimeters from this edge, 200 from this edge, and that's correctly placed. Now we'll go ahead and drill that 12 millimeter diameter hole to the required depth. Now the required depth for us, let's take a look at our application. Leave us with thread projecting through the nut, pass it through our fixture plate. In this case, it's quite a tight fit. And now our drill hole depth will be enough to accommodate the length of anchor, plus some additional for dust, etc. So in this case, it's about 80 millimeters to the base of the anchor. So we'll drill a hole at 100 millimeters deep. Let's take a look at the equipment required to do the installation of the FM753 through bolt. So firstly, we need to make sure our hole is going to be correctly positioned. We've done that with our tape measure. We then take the appropriately sized drill bit. So in this case, for a 12 millimeter diameter through bolt, it's 12 millimeters. We have a means to evacuate dust from the hole and to clean the hole. So in this case, a wire brush and blow pump. Once we've cleaned the hole, we'll then remeasure. We'll remeasure depth or confirm depth, hole depth. We will install our anchor. So we need the correct anchor as per the project specification and documentation, and as confirmed on the product label on the box. Our fixture plate, a hammer to do the install, to install the through bolt into the hole, and a torque wrench with correct size socket, in this case 18 millimeters diameter or cross flats, and set to the appropriate torque, which for our application, as mentioned in the install sheet that came in the box, 60 Newton meters. Let's go ahead with the drilling of the hole now that we've confirmed the measurements on positioning of our drill hole. All right. We will need the brush. Now that we have drilled the hole correctly, we've demonstrated the correct hole depth, we've checked that with the drill bit. Before installing the FM753 through bolt into the concrete hole that we've drilled, it's important that we check for a couple of critical dimensions. The main one is the effective depth of the anchor. This is the design depth that the engineer will rely on for capacity. That has been called up at 75 millimeters, which is to the bottom of the sleeve or the expanding element. You can see there's our 75 millimeters, and that gives us a total embedment depth of 85 millimeters, as you can see there on the tape as well. Confirming additionally that our fixture thickness here is 45 millimeters, and the maximum fixture thickness available from the product nomenclature is 45 millimeters. So we have an appropriately long anchor to cover the fixture thickness. We have the correct effective depth, which is the structural depth for the anchor to achieve capacity, and hence the correct embedment depth that we need to accommodate into the hole. 85 millimeters, we have a 100 millimeter deep hole, so we're good to go with this assembly as is. We can now, and cleaned in accordance with the ETA documentation, we can now place our fixture and anchor over the hole, the drilled hole, install the anchor. Now that we've placed the anchor and fixture in the drilled hole, let's go ahead and apply the appropriate assembly torque or installation torque, which, as per the instructions and the ETA, is 60 Newton meters, as we've got set up on our torque wrench. Let's just apply that value.